Tape Deck Media.
Good morning again. Happy Monday, Ruddle Maniacs and Ruddaholics. Welcome back to another episode of Ruddle Me This with your faithful host, me, Rud Dead Redemption, Taylor Ruddle. As always, I've got a fantastic interview lined up for you today. This week, we are going to be joined by a fairly old friend of mine, comedian Ocean Denham. I've known Ocean for several years now. Just before the pandemic, I think, was the first time we met when she was living in Christchurch performing stand-up comedy. She has since moved up to Auckland, and I had the pleasure of seeing her perform when she was down, and she's gotten a hell of a lot better. It was insane how good she is now. Ocean was kind enough to join me on the show, and we did an episode of Tiny Joys. So Ocean brought 5 tiny joys, and I have to say I was really surprised with the tangents that we took. We got into such areas of great comedic fodder as childhood traumas. We apparently found out that we both have the same, I think it technically be called an eating disorder, but I just refer to it as like a weird food thing. Talked about our relationships with our parents a little bit, as well as the ins and outs of being a children's entertainer. And in amongst it, there was a whole pile of good old-fashioned comedy chat. It was a great episode, and as always, I'm super pleasantly surprised about the tangents we get into when doing the Tiny Joys format. I don't think I've got any plugs to get in. The time this episode releases is a pretty quiet week for me, comedically wise. But as always, follow me on TikTok at Taylor Ruddle Comedy. I am posting a whole big pile of skits and comedy bits for you to enjoy. I think we talk about it right at the start, but just in case you miss it, Ocean has got a show in the New Zealand International Comedy Festival on the 23rd, 24th and 25th at Q Theatre, which is in Auckland. She's performing a show called A Hot Girl and Her Suzuki Swift. And the material that I saw her perform the night before is anything to go by. It is going to be a really, really funny show. So head along to comedyfestival.co.nz, type in Ocean Denham, and get yourself some tickets to that. Get along to that. Alrighty, without any further ado, let's just welcome our guest to the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, please welcome Ocean Denham to the podcast. Hello, Ocean. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. I think we've sort of had this, I say this to all the guests, we've kind of been planning this for a while. Like, I think was it when I was up in Auckland last time, we were going to maybe do something, but we're here now, so that's the thing. You are down to do a sort of preview of your show that's going to be in the Comedy Fest. How did that go last night?
It went really well. A Hot Girl and Her Suzuki Swift is my 60-minute stand-up show. And it's at the Dark Room. It went really, really well, and it was really great to bring it back to where it all started on Otatahi, Christchurch.
That's true. Did you were talking to me about putting flyers for your show on actual Suzuki Swifts out in public. Did you end up doing that, or did that not go ahead?
I love the concept, and I will be doing it. I was too scared of the Christchurch weather. And also I was looking around and I was like, where are the Swifts at in the area? But also I'm lazy and I didn't want to walk, but...
Everyone here drives like these Miravail tractors, which for our international audience, I don't even know how to begin to explain what a Miravail tractor is. It's like almost like an SUV kind of car, those big...
The muscle mummy's got them. Yeah,
it's kind of become like the new station wagon. It's like the family thing. There are these massive cars. They're almost like four-wheel drives, but they never, not a speck of mud on them. They never go off-road. They're just for like the city driving, but everyone's got those now instead of the little... I think the little cars are kind of the rarity to see now. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. So when, did we say this already? When is your show going to be on in the International Comedy Festival?
So it will be at Q Theatre in Auckland, which I'm really excited for. That will be at the Cellar. And then I'm really excited. It's May 23rd, 24th and 25th at 9:30 on May. So very excited very soon. And 9:30 show, which is nice and late. I think, you're able to go get a beverage, some dins, I think I've kind of made it accessible in the sense that it's only $18 as well. And then, because I think theatre becoming... Like, obviously, live theatre is a dying form. We've been saying that for the last 20 years, but, it's really apparent now more than ever because so many things are going from TV and there's not as much funding that I think it should be the time where everyone goes and watches live theatre. And if I'm not for you, that's okay, but there's so many phenomenal shows. But I will be for you because, quite frankly, I'm really good. So don't want to beat my own horn, beep.
Fantastic. I did hear an interesting theory that with AI stuff getting better, the value of live entertainment is going to go back up because people can see, when they can make full movies using AI, it's going to become like not that special anymore. So I think if we can hang on through this AI boom, there's going to be a kind of, an uptick again in live entertainment because it's going to mean more to be able to see things that are real instead of just like another, imagine the next Avengers when they're all AI generated and all the dead actors have been used because that's what they're doing. They're making the actors sign contracts where they can basically use your likeness in perpetuity, and even if you die, they can just keep putting you in movies. So it's kind of bleak times for the entertainment industry, but hopefully we won't have to worry about that. And I think we'll be okay as long as we can kind of make it through this next bit. But anyway, let's should we get on to some of your tiny joys? You've written a few.
I've
What is your
got
first
a wee
joy?
of my tiny joys. Let me get me Google Docs open. Okay, so my first tiny joy is when I see someone happy, like, when someone's really passionate about something and they're so happy and they're so excited to describe something that they're good at or they're doing. And I just find that really infectious, that kind of like pure joy. Yeah.
Is there any examples of having seen this kind of recently that you can come to mind? Like, what was the person talking about that you most recently saw this in, if there's anything?
I think my friend just like really got into arts and crafts. She's really shit at it, but she really enjoys it, and that's what matters.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? What she's making is diabolical, but it's the thought that counts, and she thought about it. She made it. Looks like crap, but it's what matters.
What is she working on? Is it like collage and that kind of thing?
I don't even know what the end product's meant to be fair, but like it's a mess, but it's made with love, and that's all that matters.
Well, that's an interesting debate that people have been having for like the hustle culture and everything has made everyone think you have to be good at arts to like make it worth doing. But I've been seeing more lately people say, there was a great phrase, it was like, you don't have to be good at art for it to be good for you. And, you'll see like this whole like former gifted kid scenario. Like, were you a former gifted kid?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Absolutely not.
Right. But there's this whole thing on like, I guess it's like TikTok and stuff where people will start a hobby and then when they're not instantly good at it, they're like, oh, well, it's not worth doing anymore. So, it's a good reminder, this kind of thing here of seeing how happy it makes people to do these artistic things, even if they're not good at it. Like, it still has value, I think. Like, have you ever picked up any hobbies like just to do it for like not to be trying to be good at it or monetize it?
I want to say yeah, but honestly no. I think it's one of those things where like I gym quite a lot, and I think the thing about gymming is that people automatically think that you're doing it for the reasons of like vanity or how you look. But for me, I feel like it's a time where like my brain just gets to be quiet and I just get to like lift all these really heavy weights and listen to like Limp Bizkit, who I've just discovered.
That's right.
I know, honestly, I'm absolutely in a chokehold. Like, they've got me down and good. Like, I'm loving them so much. But I love the gym, and I probably know sometimes I'm not doing the right form, or I'm working towards doing like little bits of something that no one else can see, But I think doing something that you enjoy, not to gain money off of it and not to impress other people, is actually quite interesting, because I think a lot of the society that we live in, we do things to show other people, you know what I mean? Like, oh, my show was sold out, or, I walked the Grand Canyon. And I think at the end of the day, like, if you can do things for yourself and know that it's potentially never going to be appreciated by anyone else, are you still going to be happy with it? That's something that is quite an interesting concept for me, because we're constantly needing validation from Instagram, from others, and I don't know, instant gratification's great, but are you able to just exist? I don't know. It's quite an interesting concept to me.
It's hard because like you pick up like I'm tooling around with trying to learn how to play guitar, but like I'm sort of defeating the purpose now by saying it on the podcast, but like, I'm not posting about it on Instagram or anything, but there's only like 20 listens for this thing, so I'm not spreading that out to the world, but
Yeah, it's one of those, it's like the ultimate mark of discipline if you can start doing something and not tell other people about it. Like, especially, you just feel so tempted to like just do a quick, like, what do they call it when you soft launch things on
Oh, yeah. It's like when you've got a boyfriend and you don't want to show his face, but you want to show like a hand or something. You want people to know that like you've got the Riz, but you don't want to show like the product, you know? Yeah.
And then eventually, I don't know what the final form is called. Is it hard launching when you show
hard
the face?
launch? That's when there's a post where you can see their face.
Right.
It's when you potentially tag, but potentially not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't put the name down or anything.
Oh, Christ, no. You're not going to, it might not work out next week. You don't want to waste your post for him.
That's right. That is a funny idea of soft launching hobbies. Like you're just like, you know, you make a story where you're like, you know, you're just talking about something, but then just in the background you see like a saxophone or something like that. Yeah. Just hoping people ask you about it.
You're like, wow, you're so different, dude. You're like, nah, dude, I've been doing this for ages. I just don't want to let you guys all know about it.
I'm trying to keep it low key.
Yeah. But on the sax since I was like 5.
Yeah. I know that's a really common thing. Like you see, there's a section of Reddit where dudes can show off like their decoration of their like house and everything. Like so many of them have the guitar and the stand, which you just feel is like more to show other people than anything else. Do you think ladies have anything like that in the house that's like kind of a showpiece more than anything else?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean,
mums definitely have the live, laugh, love sign and like photos.
Oh my!
Photos of
my mum has that like, you know, family, like the whole family, and then it's all this like cringe shit underneath it. Like F stands for this, A stands for this. I'm like, oh, we got it. We got it.
'Cause you and your mother are quite close, right?
Me and Tara, yeah, we go way back. Shout out to Tars. Shout out to Mama D.
She does your hair, right? Is that right?
Yeah, she keeps these luscious locks looking good.
And is it a professional thing or is it just her hobby?
No, my mum is a...
Oh, yeah.
It's not a passion project. No, she's a hair... No, she's not. My hair is very long, very thick. But no, my mum's a hairdresser and it's really great because I moved back home, so...
That's right.
Yeah.
Has your mother been out, like, because my parents have been out to see me a couple of times do the stand-up and I don't really think they get it. But they just do it like, we'll just go and see what he's doing. Like, has your mum seen your comedy before?
I started doing stand-up accidentally. Like I did musical theatre. I was fully trained in classical and musical theatre and things like that. So it kind of naturally evolved that I did stand-up, but I didn't, because I moved like back to Christchurch after London, she didn't really watch it. So the first time she actually watched me do stand-up was last year.
Wow.
Which was wild because it wasn't like any singing. It was just straight stand-up, like standing there, me and a mic. And she had told me that she was really proud of me, which was nice. But she also was like, I thought it was going to be way dirtier. So I don't know what they're saying about Tara, but like I think it's interesting, right? Because everyone wants supportive parents. And, you know, I only have a relationship with my mum. So she's my mum and my dad. So, and not to say that people, you know, you don't need necessarily like a modern day family of mum and dad. Some people have 2 dads, 2 mums, you know what I mean? Like those things don't matter. But, you know, having a parental figure that kind of had to carry both loads, you know, them saying that, you know, she's super proud of me and things like that does mean a lot because I think mums are quite harsh critics.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, my mum's so unhinged with the shit she says to me. Like, she just says some stuff that I'm like, oh, if I didn't have any confidence. Like,
they would be the finisher.
I'm like, just go for the jugular, Tara. It's all good. Yeah.
Is there a big age gap? Because I've got about 30 years between my parents and me. Have you got a big age gap between your mother?
Well, I'm 28. My mum's 52.
Oh, yeah. So she's like still pretty young as parents go. So, because I've always wondered about that.
When you've got the single parent, you don't have siblings, right?
Yeah, I've got one brother.
Right. we don't talk about him though.
No, that's a touchy subject.
We'll move on from that. But like, I guess I always feel like it must be an interesting relationship when you've got a younger parent that's like the single parent. It almost, I don't know if it's necessarily a, you know, neither good nor bad thing, but I imagine the dynamic is different when they're a little bit close to your age, because my parents and I don't have any of the same like culture interests, like the movies and the music that they're into. Like it goes both ways for them. They don't like any of the stuff that I'm into, but then my flatmate, the flat we're in now, his parents have like awesome taste in movies, and like they'll have like movie nights and stuff like that. And yeah, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being into the same stuff as my parents. But was it like that with your mother? Were you kind of into the same stuff?
Yeah, I'm really lucky that my mum's quite like down to earth and has never ever. I think because she had a really strict upbringing, she was like, I'm not going to do the same. So she kind of exposed me to being like, if you want to drink, you're going to have the consequences of a hangover. And, if you want to go out, like, that's fine, but you've got school the next day, so you're still going. So it was kind of like natural consequences. Like she was really big on like, if you're going to do dumb shit, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. So I'm really glad for that because I think I'm quite level-headed. But my mum is really similar to me, which is annoying, but also quite good. Like, I can go to my mum with anything. We are really, really close. So we've got a group chat with me, my mum and my stepdad. And I could, even with my stepdad, he's only been in the picture like 3 or 4 years, but we're all pretty close.
Nice.
Yeah, because my mum's a cougar.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
she's bagged herself a young buck.
No, he looks way older than her, so it works out well. But yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, good on your mother. Should we move on to your next tiny joy?
Yeah, okay. The next one is when I see a baby and they wave at me. I don't know why, but it literally melts my heart. I think when a little human wants you to say hi to them, you have to say hi.
Right.
If you do not wave back to that baby, it's actually criminal. Like, you acknowledge that baby. I just think it's so cute because, babies are like this beautiful, innocent little creatures and they just want you to say hi to them.
Yeah.
I just think I feel very chosen when a baby waves at me because they did this study that when babies stare at you, they don't just stare at you, like they see things about you that are really intriguing. So it just got me being like, wow, they think I'm so unique, like I am the rainbow fish, I'm the fish that could, like, so I'm just like, I just think babies are so beautiful and they're so cute. Yeah.
I was going to say, we can cut this out if you don't want to talk about it, but you used to do like party princess stuff.
I did. I'm fine with talking about it. Yeah. So I used to be a princess. So basically I used to go to houses for children and be the princess for like an hour and I dress up. Now I can't do it because I'm quite heavily tattooed.
Oh, they don't. That's the line, is it?
I'm like I've got a whole leg sleeve now, and my elbows covered. My arms are, I'm like a dot to dot on my arms, but because my whole leg can't be covered now, I can't do it. But like I had my own prom dress, so I'd wear that because it fit me really well.
Right.
But it's quite funny because you have this hour of magic, and I really loved it because obviously doing my musical theatre degree, I was able to like know what they wanted. They were so excited. I painted nails. I did and because I obviously sung, I'd sing some Elsa with them. We'd dance around, went on the trampoline, and like it didn't feel like work. And these children are so invested, and these parents are paid for an experience, and I really loved it. But it was also really hard. Yeah. It was hard. You had to be so enthusiastic.
You have to be perfect, right? You can't let the veneer slip for even a second, right?
Oh my goodness, no. And you couldn't swear, and you had to be like, oh my goodness. And it was just very like...
The kid could say something real unhinged to you and you just have to like almost like you didn't hear it, right?
It's not the kids that say the most unhinged things. It was mostly the dads.
Oh God, yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I got so many. It was mostly like the dads were like really lovely. It would be like the dad's friend who's single and has had like one too many VBs and wants to have a yarn. And it's like, no, I'm not going in the garage, sir. I'm going to go home because I've done my due diligence as being a princess. And like, thank you for walking me to my Suzuki Swift, but no thank you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
There was I saw a great video of a woman that was doing, I guess she was doing that over Zoom, and she was doing the enthusiastic hand movements and stuff, and then as soon as the hanging up sound like went, she just went, done, or something, and her face just went back to normal, and then she realized she was filming herself and was like, oh crap. And so I can imagine that sort of thing is tiring, because like you have to be like this, like not real, right? Like you have to be this like fantasy for the children, right? Like,
yeah, it's like a caricature. It's really similar. Like I really do think it's similar to stand-up. So obviously when you're a stand-up, you're an extension of yourself, right? You know, you're a heightened version. Stand-up is more realistic because you're still... As essentially I'm going on stage, I feel like I'm really conversational. But when you're with children, everything's bigger and funner and exciting. And, you know, nobody wants to hire somebody who is boring. So, you know, doing all of that theatre, you know, it's exciting for them. And you, like I said before, like the little joy of seeing somebody happy, you know, you do thrive off that. there's nothing worse when you go to a birthday party when I used to do it and the kid could not be asked. Like, they were like, oh, I don't want you here. And I'm like, well, hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but I got $100 to make, so suck it up. Like, I'm not leaving.
You're just like smoking against
I'm just having a dart against the garage. Like, but it was a really cool job. It was an interesting job,
Yeah, I think, very, like, you probably got some good stories out of it, but I guess it's one of those things where you're probably stoked that you're not, like, relying on that as your income, like, to pay your bills now, right?
I don't even think I did it while I had another job because I dress up as a lot of princesses. But it's really weird because most of the outfits didn't fit. So they'd be made for, like, a lot of smaller frames.
Right.
And so then I just rock up and they'd be like, okay, just wear your own thing.
Right.
You know? And
so you were just a nondescript princess. You weren't any specific character.
Well, no, because you're not allowed to because of...
Oh, because Disney will come up.
Yeah, you can get sued. So I wasn't, Elsa. Right. I was Frozen themed, even though I sung all the songs.
You're just like an ice witch.
Yeah. So
it was. Witch? I don't know what Elsa is. She's like a princess or something.
She's a princess, yeah. But it's really funny. I didn't mind. I loved it when I was just like a generic fairy because I would wear my own dress that I wore to my year 13 ball, and then I'd wear like a wig. And like that was really fun. But when I played like characters, that was harder because I was told to still do a Kiwi accent. So I'd like rock up, and even though like I can sing, Let It Go or whatever, I'm like, Elsa's now from she's from Otatahi, Christchurch, and she's got a bloody belter to sing to you kids. So it'd be like, I'd be singing like this, and then I'd be like, let it go. And I'm like, okay, cool, done. Like, you just broken all the magic. Why am I not being American? But they'd be like, nah, just be Kiwi. And I'd be like,
let it go.
I know.
Let it go.
I was like, oh, yuck. It sounds so gross when it's not like transatlantic. The accent's kind of like you can't really pick it. But and then you go from this like beautiful like transatlantic kind of can't really pick where it's from singing voice that we all do to just like a generic Kiwi one.
Accent,
and you're like, Anna's really loved living in Hallswell.
Sure, cuz.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
I love that. I was going to say, just going back to the baby thing, so I'm not really good with kids, but like I've had to do a few entertainery things around, like, especially when you're doing Beats by Bingo, which is like a DJing thing. Kids find that like infinitely fascinating, and so they'll just walk up and stand and just kind of stare, and I'm just sort of like, oh, do I acknowledge that they're here? Like, I just you doing all right, buddy? And they're just like, they don't say anything, they're just like staring back at you, and you're like, you want one of the pieces of paper? And then they light up when they're like, oh, like, booty, swag, I've got something, and then they run back to the table and they're happy, and it's like, So, children are mysterious creatures, but they like coloured paper, I guess. So
they do. They love treats. They like really love free stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like the person who's like, I'll take that extra leaflet.
They don't even know what it is.
They don't care what it is. It's a piece of paper. But did you ever do Beats by
Bingo?
Yeah. By Tineke.
Yeah.
Oh.
So because you're quite good friends with David
Stewart.
Yeah. He's one of their guys up in Auckland.
Yeah. He does a lot of that. He does that.
Have you ever considered giving that a crack?
Oh, yeah, no, me and Tineke have definitely thought about it. I think at the moment it's just like a clash of schedule and also I'm just really bad with remembering names and things, but like it's definitely something I definitely
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks really fun as well. I know David loves it and it's also such a cool concept and she's an amazing person. So,
no, Tineke's amazing. I don't think she's listening, but if she is, shout out to Tineke.
Shout out to you.
She did, I think it was Joel's show. Did he used to run a show in Auckland that was like, it was on K Road somewhere. What was it, Love Shack or something?
No, that's David's show.
Oh, that's David's show. Okay, so I met both of them there, and I had to run off afterwards because we were doing a spot at the Classic as well, and apparently she'd come out to see me, and so I haven't met her in person yet, but we've been in the same room, so
always ships in the night.
I know, right? That really is common. I feel like that was the last time you came down here, or we both went to Nelson or something, and we were like separate days or something. But it's good to sit down and do the podcast here. I think if we get that three-legged cat wanders in here, I will not be surprised. I just heard something from the doorway.
Is it the cat from the street cat?
Yeah, I don't know which neighbour owns it, but we do have a three-legged cat that wanders around here. Anyway, let's move on to your next joy.
I was excited to see the cat. My next joy is when I pull my chicken nuggets, out of the air fryer just before it dings, and they're like the right amount of crispy.
So I was kind of curious about this because I've just got an air fryer myself. I'm a recent convert. Is there a non-standardized time that you chuck them in for, or do you just not remember how long they take? Like, how come you're improvising?
I think for me, I just push start and just hope for the best. I don't think no one reads the time on. If you tell me you read the time for how long you should have the food in, that's an absolute lie. You just shove it in there and you look at it and you go, that looks all right, and then you pull it out, and then if you eat it and it goes not all good, you shove it back in. You don't read the box. No one reads the box. Do you read the box?
Well, what normally happens is I'll be doing like an oven pizza and I'll throw the box away and then realize, oh crap, I don't know how long to put this in there for, so I go digging through the recycling to find the box. And I don't know. So
you just need to raw dog how to do. You need to like raw dog your air fryer.
Freewheel it.
Yeah, you need to just go in there all unhinged and just figure it out. Right. You know what I mean? I think if you've got too much preconceived ideas of your air fryer, it's just going to ruin your experience together.
I need to be bolder in the kitchen.
I think that's exactly what I'm saying.
When is your cookbook coming up?
Well, it's just going to be an air fryer cookbook. Yeah. Let's be real. And all of the recipes will just be like things that you're going to get from Pack and Save, and it'll just be like cooking time whenever you think, you know?
I feel like we should do a TikTok where it's just me holding up bags of frozen things and you tell me how long you think it should take.
Oh, that will be good. I'm going to be so off. I'm going to be absolutely so off.
So is that your go-to kind of thing, is nuggets in the air fryer?
Yeah, I do love a cheeky chicken nugget. The good thing about nuggets is like, when you eat them, they're amazing, but also the texture's always quite similar. Yeah, I really like consistency in life, and chicken nuggets.
I feel like did you post about this on Facebook once about having a texture thing with food?
Yeah, so I've got an eating disorder called a RIF. So it basically is a restrictive eating disorder, and people assume that I restrict maybe calories or the amount of food, and it's not. It's really common with people who have autism and young children. Yeah. And
this is funny because I guess I'll talk about this on the podcast here, but I'm probably going to get an autism test this year, and I have the same thing as you.
Yeah, and so essentially with a RIF, I didn't realize it until I got diagnosed 2 years ago, and I was at that point I was quite ill because I wasn't getting enough like nutrients. The thing about a RIF is that you only eat things with textures that you consider a safe food. Yep. So I would be eating chicken nuggets and it would be the same brand, and I'd be eating chicken and rice, and I'd be eating steamed veggies. And if I didn't get the right steamed veggies, I just wouldn't eat them because I want to know that it's the same consistency every single time I ate it. So I like mousses. You won't ever see me eat mousse, but I can eat ice cream. It's
mousse is in the dessert?
Yeah. Not like the hand, yeah.
You're shooting an elk in the forest.
No, definitely not. But like it's definitely textures and things like that. But that took me 23 years to get diagnosed with that, because until then I was called like picky and annoying and Ocean's so bland and she's so boring, and then I got diagnosed with it, and then I got told that I could have autism and to take a test, and my mum was like, you've got through life so far, you'll be all right. And I was like, no, I really want to do the test. Like I want to figure out if I do have autism. And then I researched how much an autism test was, and I was like,
is it quite pricey?
It's quite expensive, because you need to go to a specialist.
Oh, maybe I'm not going to get an autism test after
It's really expensive. I think my friend got one, and she was like, if you're willing to pay like $1,000, then you do you. But I was like, I don't have $1,000, so that's not on the cards right now. But it's meant to be linked. It could not be. You could have a RIF and just have like a texture and kind of sensory issues. But it'll be quite interesting to see if I do end up getting the test, if I do have autism, or if it is a texture and like kind of.
Yeah, I think I've had the exact thing of being called picky and stuff as a child. What were some of the things you couldn't handle as a child? Like your trigger, because even today, like it's weird. I've really come around to liking onions, but as a child, if there was onion in a food, that change in texture would really set me off. And so even now, I still get a little bit of that, like, but then I'm like, wait, no, I like onions now. So like that was a big one for me. What was some of yours? If it's okay to talk about this.
No, that's okay. So I've never eaten like pasta or spaghetti.
Really?
No, never.
They're usually quite safe foods for this thing, aren't they?
For the community. Well, it depends on what you want to eat and like what you can. Unfortunately, the way that my brain works is that like like the blander the better, unfortunately. Like, you know, so it's quite hard for me. Like, I don't eat any sauces. I've never eaten like Chinese food ever.
Right.
Because like lots of those have a lot of like sauces and like I can't deal with sauces. So that's why I don't eat like spaghetti or like curries or anything like that, because the consistency of a sauce is like wet and it's like droopy and I just can't get my head around it. And I know for a lot of people I'm really pedantic or I'm really annoying, but for me it's just a lot, and that's why you'll never see me eat. I don't you'll never see me eat in public because
I was waiting for you to end that sentence.
Yeah, you'll never see me. Yeah, I just don't eat in public because it does become something, because they're like, well, oh, why don't you want to, you know, like, you know, I get invited to eat out and I have to go on the menu and I'm like, well, if there's no foods that I can eat, I'll just meet you after, because it's like I don't have to explain to somebody, hey, here's my issues, and it's quite a long and thorough thing, because people don't actually understand that eating disorders are really broad. People, no, they don't. And I've told somebody, I was like, oh, well, I've actually got an eating disorder called a RIF, and you know, it's a restrictive eating disorder, and you know, I try to explain and kind of like a little bit of educate, and somebody was like, but if you have an eating disorder, you're skinny and you're not. And and after that I was like, I'm actually not going to give this any energy, because it's my body and something that I have to deal with every day. So I just kind of gave up. And I don't know if it's because people think that because I'm a comedian they can say super unhinged shit to me.
Oh, you've got thick skin, so you can
I can take it. But I just thought, wow, you're such a piece of shit. Like, that was just the nastiest thing. And I just was like, actually, eating disorders are really complex, and I can only talk about my own experience with the issues that I'm going for. But yeah, it's quite interesting, because it's that stigma of like, what do you look like when you have an eating disorder, one, and two, what is an eating disorder? And it's so broad than what people think.
That's wild. I never knew. Well, I remember you, now that you mention it, I remember you posting about it, and I thought, wow, that we have the same thing. That's mad. Was school camps hell for you? Because, you know, there's all like,
yeah, I didn't eat
just
on
have
them.
to
Well, my mum essentially has it as well. So I'd say that, unfortunately, I would say unintentionally, like, we kind of eat the same. That would have been unconsciously. But my brother eats quite like a normal palate, and so does my dad. But for me, it's just never been that way. But with like school camps and stuff, my teachers were really aware with my issues with eating, so I'd bring my own food. Yeah. And so that was okay. But I mean, there's only so many days you can live off a fucking muesli bar.
I know, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really good to give, you know, education on situations I don't think a lot of people understand. I think for a lot of people with any, you know, with anything that they think they understand, to kind of give them a little bit of education is always really good. But also, I don't talk about it so much. But one of my friends was like, you know, the next comedy set that you write, it would be cool if you educated people about it, which a lot of people don't know what it is. So maybe I will.
Yeah, could do. I didn't know it had a name, but I knew the thing. It also gets exhausting to explain to people, though, as well. Like, I remember one time when I was living in Japan, my friend said, oh, let's go to this chicken restaurant. And I sort of expressed a bit of a like, oh, yeah, like maybe we'll see. Like, I didn't really know what because like meat is a big one for me. The change in texture of meat really messes me up.
Oh, okay.
And then I got this sort of panicked call from another guy being like, oh, you know, so-and-so told me that you have this thing with texture or whatever. And I just thought, I cannot be bothered explaining this. So I just went.
I think, you know, I totally sympathize with you. I think the issue that like a lot of us face is like, it's telling other people what you're going through and like explaining it. The one thing I hate doing, also obviously dating, I hate going on dates, because then I have to explain to people this, and everyone's not as accepting as you think. You know, a lot of people think it's a joke or they make fun of me, and it's like, oh, I'm actually really insecure about this. So for most of the dates, I just don't go.
Yeah. Well, I guess in that situation, you want to go for like coffee or something that's not like food. But it's quite interesting. I think a lot of people don't like eating on the first date because it's like a new person that you're around. And people have a lot of hang-ups about eating around strangers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I can imagine men not being super understanding of that. Because like if people don't experience it, they don't really get it, and you try to explain, and then they're just like, oh, I don't know, like, you know. I remember hearing a story of a guy. It was reading an account of a guy who started choking, and it said he was chewing on like a really fatty piece of steak, and then he basically just tried to like swallow it anyways. And I was like, how the hell are you able to like bite down and then feel this weird, lump of whatever, and then be like, oh, I'll just continue eating. And it's I'll never understand how people can just push through stuff like that. So, but maybe people's, I don't know, is it a nerves thing in the mouth, or is it more like a psychological thing?
I think it's definitely psychological for me. And then I think dating, the idea of telling like anyone that I'm dating, this is something I'm going through, just really terrifies me.
Yeah.
I just think, I just can't be asked.
Yeah.
Explain. It's really long.
Front,
yeah. And then also if they only last like a 30-day trial, then I've wasted my energy telling them about my issues.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just no.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Okay, so what was your next tiny joy?
Okay, my next tiny joy is when I see somebody who was mean to me at high school get a fringe, and the fringe is awful, and it matches that person's awful personality. I thrive. People say that you shouldn't like bask in people's like
misfortune.
Yeah, but I say do it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an issue. I say I don't care.
Well, it's like they've got the word in German, Schadenfreude, for when you feel good for seeing someone else feel bad, or whatever the expression was. Like, I mean, obviously people feel that if they had to come up with a word for it, right?
Yeah.
It's a human emotion.
The Germans know what's up. They honestly know what's up with, they've heard about the fringes.
Yeah.
They've heard about the fringes. But I just think sometimes, I think, obviously I don't want to piss on anyone's bonfire. You want other people to do well.
Yeah.
But I think, sometimes when somebody you don't like gets a real dodge haircut, you can have a wee giggle about it.
I've been sort of like, I'm approaching that age now where I'm expecting my hair to start falling out any day, but so far it's been so far so good. But like I have a similar thing where I'll see like the athletic jock dudes from high school who were like not necessarily bullied me, but not super kind to me, and I'll see that they're losing their hair, and I'll be like, yeah, where did all that fitness get you?
Yeah, well, God takes an inch for every time you're mean, so it's back there, sweets. It's back there.
I think it's like, what do they say? Every day above ground is a good day. Like for me, it's like every day with my current hairline is a good day. So,
you have a lot of hair. You're gonna be fine.
That was my hairdresser says, I have a lot of hair.
You got some luscious locks.
Yeah, I'm trying to grow it out as well now. So,
really?
Yeah, I think so. Although
I think you've got thick hair, you said, right? So do you have to plan your week around like washing hair?
No, my mum's a hairdresser, so since I've been little, she's just always trained me. So I wash my hair once a week.
Yeah.
And then I can just look at it and be like, yeah, it needs a wash.
Yeah,
but because I've got really thick, long, coarse hair, it feels like a horse when you like pat me.
Right.
I don't think, like once a week's all good. Yeah, I don't really have very oily or dry hair, so I'm quite lucky.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's one thing as it's getting longer. I just shampooed it today actually, and I thought like, this is going to be a process once it's a bit longer.
Did you condition it as well?
I did, yeah.
Okay, you just said shampoo, and I started to get stressed that you didn't condition.
Just
you need to do two shampoos.
I did that, yeah.
Did you do two shampoos?
Two shampoos.
Did you do a conditioner?
Yep.
Okay, and then did you also put like maybe some argan oil in it? Did you do a hair mask?
I haven't gotten to that stage yet.
I think you should.
I think maybe Tara could give me some pointers.
Mama D would love.
Email into the show.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask about the fringe is I understand that in women culture, like cutting the fringe usually is like a refresh or like something has changed in your life, and that's why changing the hair. So like the level of seeing someone after the fringe, is that also compounded by the fact that they're probably going through something as well?
Yeah, when you've got a fringe, you're going through trauma.
It's not going well for you.
No, it's not. It's a trauma response.
Okay.
You're going through the ringer, and I want to know about it because obviously you want everyone to know that you're suffering with that goddamn fringe.
Interesting.
Side bangs, I can kind of get behind. Fringes, I just don't really understand it. Like if you were my friend, I'd let you know what's up, dolls.
Right.
Let's talk about this before you go and ruin your hair. Let's unpack this together.
I wonder what it is about the fringe. Is there a look that people are going for, or is it just because it's different?
I mean, look, I don't have a fringe. I can't talk for the fringe community. But, I had a fringe once, and I don't remember my life being good then. Right. That's what I will say.
Right. So maybe it's just one of those mysterious...
I think it's a trauma response.
Yeah. Fascinating. I don't think I have anything else to add to that.
Having a fringe is a call for help.
A call for help, yes.
Definitely.
So if you see a friend out there with a fringe, just, gently place your hand on their shoulder and ask them if everything's okay.
Yeah, you're right. You want to talk about that?
What's been going on?
Yeah, we'll move on to the next, Joy, if you've got nothing else for the fringe.
I think it spoke for itself.
Yeah.
I think. You've got kind of like a side fringe going on.
I do a little bit, yeah. And things are not going well. So
yeah, you know that thing is like, so tonight will be the night that I want fur for you. And it's
like an emo.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely longer in the front, and I think I need to. My hairdresser just left the country as well, so I need to find a new. I think I might go to a barber and see what that's like. But yes, I very, very much do have a bit of a what is it, the Fallout Boy kind of era mop going on. This is great for audio listeners. Let's move on to the next one.
Oh, okay. So my last one is my small sparks of joy is when you pick an outfit in your head, right? And like, so you pick it out and you're like, this is going to look bomb. I'm going to look so good. And then you put it on and it actually kills. Like you look phenomenal. Yeah. That just to me is like a small win. I love that feeling of being like, yes, I was right.
You, I guess maybe it's a little different for the way you because do you dress in your real life the same as you do on stage, or is there kind of like a costume, for lack of a better word, that you, or like a, you know what I mean, like a character that you kind of go into when you dress for shows?
Nah, I dress the same.
Yeah.
I think it's because my stand-up is so conversational. Like the way we're talking now is the way I talk on stage. And I think that somebody described my comedy as like having a cup of tea with a friend and you're having like a conversation. And I really loved that. I think it really made me be like, wow, you know, I think I've kind of found my niche. Like it's like, you know, you're talking to a friend. So for me, it wouldn't make any sense for me to dress how I wouldn't dress in real life because my stand-up is obviously an extension and a caricature of myself, like a heightened version, but there's still so many aspects that are still me. Yeah. So I would say that I still absolutely dress the same. I'm wearing this outfit tonight and I could wear it out if I was to go out after, you know, but yeah.
Do you have like, when you like, what is it called? Not a capsule wardrobe, but do you have like set outfits that are kind of like a safe option to fall back on if you can't think of anything new?
Oh, no, I don't know. Do you know what? One thing I will say is I think as a comedian, I have a weird ritual where if I have an outfit that I killed in a set, I will try and wear that outfit. And then if I bombed in a set, I will get rid of it because I'm like, it carries bad juju.
I had a hat like that. I never bombed wearing a certain hat, so I stopped wearing it.
We do weird stuff like that. Like if I have a set and it killed and I ate that food, and then I've got a season or a run of something, I'll try and eat the food the next day and things like that. And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? But I don't know, like I know certain colors go with, like obviously I've got really long red hair, I'm really porcelain, so I know that like red looks good on me, and like bright colors make me look really ill, so that's a big no. But yeah.
Oh, they look ill as in the bed?
No, as in like I look really ill because it washes me out. Like I just look really like ill because I'm like quite fair, so I think a lot of people just are like, are you okay? You look really ill.
And I'm like too pale.
I look real washed out.
Right. So then that means you have to go for what kind of colours? More muted colours?
Yeah, I think red and black look the best on me, potentially just with my hair and like the colouring that I, you know, have.
Yeah, fair enough. I was going to say as well, the hair is something you've sort of discovered kind of recently. Is that the look you think you're like going to keep, or is it are you going to keep experimenting the longer you do? Because you could have like a different kind of hair for each show that you're doing or something.
Yeah, so obviously we were both, like when I first started stand up, I was a blonde and I had really long platinum blonde hair. And then when I went red, I noticed that people like were almost like that was my signature of having like red hair and like pink bits at the front. And I think I really suit it. And I also think that now it's like definitely like on a lineup, I think it really makes me stick out. So I think at the moment, because I've got this kind of like signature hair, I don't think it will change for a really long time. I miss the blonde. I do miss it. And I do find that unfortunately what you wear, makeup, hair, all matters to how your jokes land, weirdly, unintentionally, and I don't think the audience are aware of that. But I do think that with red hair, I am like approached a lot more off the stage, like people come and talk to me a lot more. I think the way it's perceived is different as well. So I am going to keep the red for quite a while, I think. I don't think I'd change it, just because, you know, a lot of people look really similar on stage, and my point of difference is having like bright red hair with pink in it, and it's still, I can kind of pull it off. So I think for now we'll keep it. But I do like the concept of changing my hair colour for each show. Yeah. But I think on a circuit and stuff, It makes me really identifiable.
True. You could eventually in like 20 years do like your eras tour where you go through different wigs of like your different hairs that you've had throughout your shows.
That's true.
Cool. What was I going to say? The red hair thing's interesting because I was watching an interview with well, she's not the Yellow Wiggle anymore, but she was the Yellow Wiggle at the time. I think she was called Emma. And
Emma Mema.
Is that what? Because she's like she's doing like a solo kind of thing.
Yeah.
now.
She left the Wiggles, and I'm pretty sure her name is Emma Mema. Like she does like children's kind of singing and stuff. She's phenomenal, and I think
talented.
a very talented lady. And I think that extension of her identity is from Wiggles, you know. And I think a lot of people, the more comedians I talk to, the more it's actually like really apparent is that the way you look is really similar to the way that your jokes land and the way you're perceived by the audience. And the red hair theory is something I only got told about by an audience member.
What is red hair theory?
So the red hair theory is that, unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends on how you view it, is that red is like a signature color. So a lot of people signify red with like romance and like passion and love and things like that. So a lot of people are drawn to red. So it's quite like a striking color.
Yeah.
It also does mean that people do say quite questionable things to you. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think I should change myself just because of some shitty comments.
That's very interesting. I know redheads used to be a thing. Like, people of like my dad's age would be like, oh, I like redheads. That was like a thing, you know, like a thing.
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, that used to be gingers though, right? You know what I mean? Redhead back in the day was ginger, whereas I'm actually like red. Yeah.
Like Lightning McQueen red.
yeah, Lightning McQueen. Call me that. Call me Lightning McQueen from now on.
Queen in it, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, look, I'll take it. But I do find that like if a woman does have red hair, people will definitely be like, oh, red's like my favorite colour, or, you know, my redheads are my thing. And I'm like, oh, no, but I'm a literal redhead and I look not like ginger.
It is different, because that was the thing with Emma, is like, I think she has ginger hair normally, but she would wear a wig that was more red than her actual hair when she was doing the wiggle. And,
oh, really?
And I don't know if it was because of red hair theory, but it was like, I think she had the wig because it would be like, it could be kind of perfect at all times. And she had these real, it was like a head mold that she'd put the wig on, and then like she would like spray it with like the right amount of humidity, and like she had like a box thing that it would, like, this thing had like real tight security on this wig. And you know, I guess when you're making Wiggles money, like you can
afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
That wig is getting looked after a bit than me.
All your luggage on the plane just gets thrown in and stuff, and this wig is getting like,
Can she adopt me?
Well, yeah. I remember seeing that, and just I always thought of writing a joke about that. It exemplifies the misogyny of the Wiggles, because like, she was like an Irish dancer. She could speak sign language. She had to do all these things. And then the other three are just like, oh, I just sing and play guitar. And then the other guy sleeps. And that's like the whole thing.
I know. I would love for my personality trait to be sleeping. Yeah. It's interesting though, because I'm not saying that there's a double standard, but there definitely is, with the expectation of what women are expected to do on stage and on TV as opposed to men.
Really?
Not in every show and every production, don't get me wrong, but the Wiggles is what you've just identified. It does happen to a lot of things, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. So is that the last item on the list?
Yeah, it's the last.
We're basically on 45 minutes now, so that works out perfectly. Thank you for joining me on the show, Ocean. Let's get the plug in for your show one last time. So it was the 23rd, 24th and 25th of May?
Yes, at Q Theatre The Cellar, and that is for the New Zealand International Comedy Festival.
And it's called A Hot Girl in Her Suzuki?
No, A Hot Girl and Her Suzuki Swift.
And Her Suzuki Swift. You can find tickets to that by going to, is it just comedy.co.nz or NZ Comedy Fest?
Comedy Fest, yeah. So if you just look up the Comedy Festival, you should be able to get them through there, or you can follow me on Instagram, which is Ocean Denham, and a little wave emoji, and in my bio we'll have tickets.
Perfect. I will chuck the link to Ocean's Instagram in the show notes for the show. So we got to get going and do a comedy show in town. Let's go and do that now. Thanks for joining me.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you for listening to Ruddle Me This. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a review on your favourite podcast platform. You can find me on social media at Taylor Ruddle Comedy on all the major platforms. You can also join patreon.com/Taylor Ruddle Comedy for free, which gets you access to all sorts of extras and behind the scenes content, as well as allows you to communicate directly with me and let me know what you think of the show.
Tune in again next Monday for another episode of Ruddle Me This, and until then, Ruddle her out.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.